Well, hello. It's me, Blame Girl. Welcome to my YouTube channel. The Blame Channel, I guess. Um, so, I've been trying to write about Kony 2012. There's just so much to talk about. I could do a podcast, but I decided why not start a YouTube channel today and do it that way. So, let's get started, shall we? Today's blame is called Kony or Phony. So, the Kony 2012 movement has taken over social media. Initially, I didn't pay any attention to it because, I saw the video and I was like, oh, I've heard about the lost children. I just didn't want to waste time reading something I already knew about. However, it was everywhere, and of course I was aware of it. I just still never watched it. The other night, I went over to my friend's house, and he knows I'm a blogger, and he's like, so what do you think about the Kony 2012? And I was like, honestly, I don't know anything. And he's like, are you crazy? He's like, you should be all over this. He's like, their video has gone so viral. They've gone from 0 to 100 million hits in one day. And that's amazing. 1 week, not one day. That's amazing. And that's cool. I didn't know why I should talk about it. What could I blame, or, talk about dealing with Kony? Well, I didn't know, so my friend insisted that I watch the video, and I did, finally, last night. Now, the video was really good. It was a really good video. It started off talking about how technology has changed the landscape of the world, and, it had little sentimental videos. Like, there was a video that kind of jerked a tear for me about a lady who was able to hear for the first time. Really cute YouTube video with this kid saying something about riding a bike. It was just so cute. And then it transited into the director's life, and he was having his first child, and it was videotaped. And he said that, when his child was born, he really wanted to do something to make to leave a legacy so that he would change the world for his son. His son was Gavin. Then the video went on to talk about Jacob, his friend in Uganda. Okay, you see this little boy in Uganda. It's so cool the way the video is directed because it's like showing a Facebook timeline and going down and showing all these old videos of the director. His name was something Russell. And he was in Uganda hanging out with Jacob, talking to Jacob, and Jacob basically said that throughout their commute from one place to another, that they run the risk of being kidnapped and turned into child soldiers or child sex slaves. And he cried, because Russell started talking about his brother, and his brother died because he tried to escape and was killed, and he just broke down crying. The video's pulling on all kinds of heartstrings, and of course, if you sit down and think about what's going on, not just in Africa, but all over the world, you could get sad. So, while I was watching the video, I noticed that Jacob, and all the kids in Uganda, they were sleeping in what looked almost like slave quarters, or like what you would imagine a slave ship would look like, or even, just bodies piled up in the mass graves in the Holocaust. That's what I thought when I saw where all these kids would sleep. And Jacob even went on to say he would rather be dead than alive. And that just, that broke my heart. But the director goes on to show, that was about 8 years ago when he had taken that footage, and Jacob is a man now. And Jacob has made it to the U.S. to speak to people. The director, Russell, he started a charity to get people to donate so that he could take the message to the politicians, because that's really who can do anything in Uganda. You can't, as a private entity, go and start searching for someone to kill them. You can, but you'll probably run the risk of being on some UN list yourself. And the Director Russell, he pointed out that Kony's at the top of the international um, criminal list. He's the #1 war criminal. He's committed, he's basically recruited child soldiers, not recruited, kidnapped, and, made girls sex slaves, and he has the kids, like, mutilate other people. He has the kids just doing horrible stuff on drugs and all kinds of stuff. Kony is, if you don't know, he runs the Lord of Resistance Army, and they've been battling the Ugandan army for over 20 years. This has been going on for over 20 years. That's probably why I didn't really look at the video when I first saw it, because it's old news. So Director Russell, his son Gavin, he wants to let him know what's going on in Africa, because Gavin knows their friend Jacob, and he videotapes him telling his son that Kony is recruiting boys and girls to kill others, and even Gavin, maybe 5 years old at the time, he can understand that it's wrong and that we should go after this guy. Gavin is actually the age of someone in Africa that would be kidnapped and taken and turned into a child slave. So like I said, it's been going on for 26 years. No one's done anything about it, right? So through this group Try, they've raised this money, they petitioned the government, they got 100 soldiers into Uganda to help. And that's good. I am all for humanitarian efforts. I don't understand how we can sit by and watch while people are murdered, like in Syria. I thought we should have gone in a long time ago, but, I don't run the country. But it's like, how can you watch this go on? Just people just murdered, and kids murdered, turned into sex slaves, child soldiers. How can you watch that as an international community? And it reminds me of Hotel Rwanda. Joaquin Phoenix played this cameraman there, and they were recording everything, and he was talking to Paul Rusesabagina, and he was like, Paul's like, are you going to show this to the Americans? Maybe they'll come in and they'll do something. And he's like, you know what I think? This will run on the nightly news, and people will look at it, they'll be like, oh, that's sad, and they'll go back to eating their dinners. And that's pretty much how we handle these atrocities. Unless, of course, there's some financial or, some type of resources we can get, or they're threatening our national security, which is pretty much what they told Director Russell once he went to Congress and started petitioning. But eventually he raised so much awareness amongst we the people, we got involved, and then the government got involved. So he made the video because he's worried that once, Kony, he's changed his strategy, okay? And the Director Russell, he's worried that now that Kony's changed his strategy, the U.S. government will pull out and they won't help or anything like that. So he's basically pushing for everybody to buy these action kits, and you get like 2 bracelets, one for you to share. You get posters to put up because they want to basically make Kony famous, make him known, because he's the #1 enemy, war criminal, but people don't even know who he is. And he wants to use social media to do that, and he's been successful, and I think that is great that he's been successful. He's also been able to go back to Uganda, build schools, build like a radio warning system to warn villages if, the LRA is coming, that they need to evacuate or whatever to save themselves. So basically he wants us to get involved so that our government will get involved, because we run the government. We've seemed to have forgotten that over the past couple of years and let corporations take over, but we really do run the government. He wants Joseph Kony removed by the end of the year, December 2012. He says it expires. He also said this video is an experiment, which I thought was weird. And he's gotten all kind of celebrities and politicians involved. And when you watch the Kony 2012 video, you're like, okay, you know, we need to get involved. And that's the controversy, it's called, because it's really a propaganda video if you watch it. For example, some of the facts in the video are inaccurate. There's not 30,000 child soldiers, there's like 150. And also, it should be noted that if we help the Ugandan government, we're helping another dictator. So these, you know, humanitarian efforts, they're sticky. Like, we should do it as an international community. We should help. I don't understand how you can have resources to help but not help. It just doesn't make sense. It's like the healthcare argument to me. We have the technology and resources to heal the sick, so just heal the sick. That's the right thing to do. But no, you have to think about money and this and that, and you know, and there's plenty of people that are sick of us policing the world and, you know, having our hand everywhere. And with Africa specifically, you know, the white man's burden caused this. The white man's burden, it, you know, was to spread Christianity, commerce, and civilization. And they raped Africa of their resources for that commerce. And they taught them Christianity, which the Lord's Resistance Army. It's a Christian organization. You know, most Christians wouldn't call it that, but they think they're fighting for Christ. So, or they're using Christ's name to fight. So look what the white man's burden has done in Africa. Why is it not the white man's burden to try to save people? Like, Director Russell's point was, you know, he doesn't want to see kids that could just, he wants to see kids be kids. In Africa, it shouldn't matter where you live. You should be able to be a kid, you know? And all over the world, kids are married off young, child soldiers, sex slavery, smoking cigarettes. It's like the Western world is the only world that cares about kids, but do they really care about kids? Because when it comes to helping kids that are not American or British, they're not doing it. So it's just, it's such a tough situation because, you know, we know in our heart what the right thing to do is. But as a world community, we can't act as individuals without running the risk of, you know, that's the other thing, the money. The donations and the money is not really going to Uganda to help anyone. And, oh yeah, Kony's not even in Uganda anymore. He's moved because he knows that the great American power is after him. But the money's not going to help these villages anymore. They're going to fund films to raise awareness about other things, which, you know, I get it. I don't think that that's a bad idea. We have all witnessed what social media has done to this world. It's changed it, okay? It's changed, you know, the Barbary Coast, and it's changing Iran, Iraq, you know, that region. They cannot stay immune from technology forever, and their people eventually demand that, you know, that they get with the rest of the world, but for right now, they're still stuck behind. Where do we come in? Do we force them to catch up? No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that this has been going on for 26 years in Uganda. We should have done something about it. There's no reason we shouldn't get involved. And, you know, Russell's cause, you know, it might be a good one, but just remember, it will encourage us to help another dictator. What should we really be doing? Should we, you know, not help at all, just let it go on and let the problem solve itself? It's been going on 26 years. Or should we go in and do something about it and help these kids? That's my only thing. I think we should help these kids. I don't know how we should do it. But, you know, if we get Kony, maybe we could get the next dictator in Uganda next. But, you know, Russell's idea is to go down that war criminal list and go after those guys. Make the world aware of those guys and go after them and you know, with our government, have them taken down. So, well, that's pretty much all I have to say on it. It's just such a complex issue, and, you know, people are upset with him because it's pretty much propaganda, you know, and it's reaching people. The reason my friend even researched it was because his dad was going to donate money, and he didn't want his dad to donate money and it, you know, be wasted. So he researched it and he found out some stuff and he didn't like it, and then he told me about it. So it got me involved, and there's so many issues at play here, like I say. Well, anyway, I hope you love my Blame channel, and I'll try to get some more videos up this week. Thanks for tuning in.